the statement in the Bible that it's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God than it is for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. And like, that's why Elon is such a crazy example, because as we were illustrating, the more you have, the harder it is to give it all up.
Yeah, so anyway, back to that Elon interview.
Yes, that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
that was with New York Times.
Yeah, I don't quite understand. I don't know what quite the context was, but I think it was some kind of forum or a conference, something with New York Times. There's clearly an audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Elon's feels like he's starting to get crispy, you know?
Yep, he seems jaded for sure.
Yeah.
Like his Joe Rogan interview was the first. Like I said on our road trip, he seemed on edge. I mean, he didn't want to like answer any of the questions Joe Rogan asked.
Right.
It's like he's just kind of bulldozing, which he did in this interview.
Yep.
He just seems to kind of be like bulldozing the interviewer and just saying whatever he feels like saying or whatever he feels like covering.
Yeah, the interviewer will ask a very specific question. And he sort of
goes back,
half answers it, and then talks about something that he wants to talk about. It's like his patience level. It's like he's getting weary of us mere mortals and all of our folly and our foolish. And Elon's up here like hovering over the top of everybody, like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
You know, I'm tired of all this childish.
Well, in a way, you had me watch the interview because you were saying you like Elon, and this interview was maybe even on the edge.
Yeah.
But also, he's definitely being a bit of an a-hole.
Yeah,
in the interview.
Yeah, he's getting stretched.
But at the same time, in a way, I was saying I kind of want to be in the crowd clapping because he is also saying what a lot of us are feeling.
Right.
I mean,
dude, his line where he says, basically, he's tired of watching people put on the facade of doing good while doing evil.
Yeah, he said they want it. I'm tired of seeing people who want to appear like they do good while doing evil.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was a great line.
All the other big publicly traded companies.
Well, and when he basically says, you know, FY to the camera.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a part of us there's a part of that's in all of us right now. You're just so tired of the garbage.
Dude, if you have any conservative values, then you've definitely felt like you like saying that.
Yeah. Watching the insanity.
Several years or even the last decade. Yeah. And I guess for me, it feels like it's coming to a head this year.
Yeah.
As it does for a lot of people. It feels like America's falling apart. And yeah, dude. I mean, he's obviously a very prominent figure and he's got a voice. And it's a little bit satisfying to see somebody in that position say what we're all feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is frustrating. I mean, we're all frustrated with it, right? Like I had a business relationship fall apart just last week or a week before because of the church that we go to.
Really?
And yeah. Yeah. And it's just like
didn't know that.
The insanity of that, you know, like I have a little bit of a kind of an FY response in my heart, myself. I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like what we do in the place we attend is probably done more for Wenatchee than any other organization. I mean, maybe not any organization over time, but we've done a lot of good. And so just to be like, to have that insanity, that lens that person is wearing is just so frustrating.
It is. It's so frustrating, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, Elon, man, I mean, and think about what he's shouldering. I mean, what are his companies? I mean, X?
Yeah, dude.
Tesla.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Like how he juggles so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that What's the magic that he has that allows you to be the CEO of? Yeah, it's Tesla, Neuralink,
X,
SpaceX, the Boring Company.
I don't know where
the solar the solar company where he installs.
Yeah,
I don't know what that's called.
Yeah,
but
ginormous solar fields, all of that.
Yeah, that's a ton, dude.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. So like, I mean, Elon is a force of nature, but it's like we were talking about this the other day. Like, what makes Elon so dangerous as a businessman?
Yeah,
I mean, how can you shoulder that much? And what you and I were dialoguing about, just as a refresher, the thing that makes Elon so dangerous in business is that he doesn't give a crap about
clearly based on that interview
about what every other business owner and CEO I know. He doesn't give a rip about the basic things that we all, and I mean even high-level CEOs, care about. And those are success, money, comfort, and status.
Yeah. Like you said, the refresher on our conversation, he lives in like a 1,200 square foot box that was like $50,000 or something.
Yes.
And the other half of the time sleeps on the floor of or the couch inside the headquarters of one of his businesses.
Right.
Like, he is not concerned with the same things that we're concerned about.
No.
He doesn't care. I mean, like we were breaking down, we struggle with the same things that everybody else does. Like, you care about money, whether that's for the kingdom or for your own personal comforts, but Elon clearly doesn't worry about any of that.
No.
Made apparent by the fact that Elon has been willing to literally invest down to his last dollar all of his resources to make sure that his companies survive. So he's way more concerned with the mission and the success of his companies, and seems to have like zero regard for his personal successes,
right,
and his personal needs. The story of him giving up his last $100 million, which that statement is crazy, like to say it that way.
Yeah.
Because $100 million is a crap ton of money. Like, if you have $100 million, that's FY money. You don't have to worry about anything after you have $100 million. I mean, barring like, can I buy multiple of the world's largest yachts? I mean, like, there's really nothing you have to worry about. And so you could be completely set up. And we were talking about how, I'm going to use you as an example. You've had success in business, and really anybody who's achieved a point where, they quote unquote don't have to worry about money. To give that up, like to literally look at your bank account and send it to zero,
dude,
for the cause, for the mission, is unthinkable. I mean,
unthinkable for almost everyone.
For almost everybody. I mean, I would stretch to say there's nobody listening right now that's in that position that can say with honesty they would send their bank account to zero to save the company they have right now, or
for
some
the
theoretical
mission, save your company.
Yep.
And to be clear, in that position, to have, it's not like Elon or the example you're talking about is like, oh, I've saved up $5,000, I'll take it to zero.
Yeah, we talked about this in
people who have achieved a place in life of comfort where you don't have to work, where you've sort of kind of reached this place where it's like, this is where people want to get, and it's really hard to conceive of coming back down off of that.
That would be incredibly hard to replace too. There's the big factor, I think, is like, I was saying, we talked about this in a previous podcast, or you did, which is like when you're a teenager and you have thousands of dollars in your bank account, it's really easy to throw that all at something and like take your bank account to zero. If you have millions of dollars in your bank account, to throw that all away at something and watch your bank account go to zero is way more difficult, because you know how hard it is to achieve that. This is kind of like a long-standing storyline that is like popular, which is somebody builds themselves up to this pinnacle and then they lose it all, and like how terrible of a feeling that is.
Yeah.
And if you have millions of dollars, you've kind of achieved that pinnacle. It would be hard with even $5 million in your bank account to do that. Elon did it with $100 million,
right?
Which, again, the example being, how hard is it to replace $100 million? To think about doing that again,
right,
is like,
and
crazy.
That's what makes him insanely dangerous, because he does not care about the world's comforts.
Yep.
He doesn't care about having another boat. He doesn't care about another house. He only cares about the mission that he believes in, which is to save planet Earth, which is just a small little mission, like, I'm going to just save Earth and get a colony going on Mars so that we have an alternate place to live in his mind,
Yeah, ironically, the big things that he's done probably feel somewhat small to him, because he's looking at that.
They're
that
just Lego blocks.
Goal.
Yeah, they're just Lego pieces inside of an enormous goal.
He is swinging for the fences
right.
all the time, at all times.
Right. So he takes that $100 million and he plunks it down on 2 dying companies, which is insanity to think of doing that, to save these enormous companies, which really should have gone to zero. And he takes his last amount and he puts it in the bank account and keeps them going.
Yeah. Well, he says they were literally single-digit weeks away from going completely bankrupt.
Right, which is phenomenal. So that is what makes Elon so dangerous. And I was thinking the other day, that is really an incredible example for those who claim to know Jesus and care about the mission of Jesus and care about other people getting saved. I want to impugn anybody's motives, and there are definitely very passionate believers out there who will absolutely have given it all and will.
Mm-hmm.
But for the average American Christian, or for the average Christian, I would say Elon is a phenomenal example and probably cares more about his mission than most Christians do about seeing other people saved, which massively trumps the importance of the mission that Elon has. Mm-hmm. We have a more important mission, and Elon is an example to us in that he will give it all, doesn't care about his own personal comfort, mm-hmm. doesn't care about his next boat or his own personal agendas. He will take his bank account to zero to see the mission completed. That's pretty amazing, and that's an incredible example for all of us who say we care about the mission and the building the kingdom, and what are we willing to part with? Are we as dangerous for Jesus as Elon is as dangerous in business?
Mm-hmm. That's a good line. As dangerous, because that's definitely defines what Elon has.
Yeah,
and that is like the ultimate. Well, Jesus is the ultimate example, but like that's the ultimate example that I can think of in terms of people today, because
just to throw this in there, like, would I take my bank account to zero from where I'm at for the kingdom?
Yeah, that's a good question to ask yourself. And that's what I was thinking of.
You want to say you will.
Well,
but
and
I can think of a lot of strategic reasons for the kingdom to not do that. Like,
you could convince yourself.
Yeah, it's like, well, I need to keep myself in a position of strength,
mm-hmm.
and like that would just be foolish to go to zero. Like that would probably be. But that's again, that's like Elon's willing to do that. And am I?
Well, responsibly, yeah. You would maybe need to say that you'd really have to feel like God is asking you to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because God is going to win in the end,
right?
And Elon doesn't have that with his companies.
Wow. That's a really interesting thought.
Yeah, that is an interesting thought. You would need to be wise about making the same move that Elon made with his companies and with his last $100 million. I want to say you would need to feel like the Lord is telling you to do that. But then also simultaneously, it's like, well, if you do go all in for the Lord,
we have way more assurance of victory than Elon does.
Yeah.
Elon has zero assurance of getting anything done that even today that he's doing. He has no assurance of his mission being completed.
Yeah, and he still dumps.
And he still does it. And yet
Well, and I was going to say that's the heart behind the statement in the Bible that it's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God than it is for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. And like, that's why Elon is such a crazy example, because as we were illustrating, the more you have, the harder it is to give it all up.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That is a big part of the root. It is the root of that verse. It is very, very hard once you have riches.
And Elon has more than any human being on the planet.
Dude.
And he's giving it up. So what a crazy example he is. And even more so, it should be easy for us as Christians, because as we're saying, we actually have assurance that we're putting our money into an investment in the future and a guaranteed win.
Guaranteed outcome.
Guaranteed outcome. Elon has none of that, and he's still doing it, and he has the most money of any human being on the planet.
Wow.
And he's willing to give it all up.
Yep.
For the mission. It's like God has put Elon in that position.
Yep.
Like, if you look at it the right way, as we're looking at it right now, it's like that's a crazy example God's given us.
Throughout the Bible, especially the Old Testament, we see, Christ types,
Yes.
people that are type figures
right.
of like Melchizedek and those characters that we're supposed to look to and see, like, oh, he was prophet, priest, king. Anyway, so
David.
In a way, it's like Elon's like a modern day unredeemed example for giving it all for what you care about.
But he's missing a piece.
Yeah.
And Christ is the better Elon.
Yep.
But
he doesn't have the assurance of victory, but we do.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Vertical Business Podcast today. If you like what you heard, then go follow us and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, X or Twitter, and Google Podcasts. And if you want to interact with us beyond the Vertical Business Podcast, you're interested in all things business, go visit our website at gosparrow.com. You can get access to our newsletter and also interact with just more content than we put out here on the Vertical Business Podcast. So go check that out. Thanks.